to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 184 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, how's it going today?
Good, man. Good. Had some exciting racing this weekend, eh?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you about that because I know we've both been kind of pretty down on the old road course. Well, before we talk about the road course, let's just get it out of the way. Christopher Bell won the race, first-time winner. Okay, so now we can't get accused of not talking about the winner. I'm sure we'll get back to him anyway, but
We'll get back to him.
So yeah, I think that this race may have earned itself a spot on the schedule, James.
It may have. I don't know where they're going to stick it.
Yeah,
but,
me neither.
Yeah. But yeah, it very well may have if NASCAR wants to be in the road course business like they say they want to here.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be going road course racing again at some point.
I think we might have seen an example last year, James, of one race that officially was harmed by not having practice beforehand. Because I think everybody was so timid last year, not knowing what to expect for this race, that it just wasn't that exciting of a race. And now that they know what to expect, they all drove like complete idiots.
They did drive like complete idiots, and I know they did make a few rules changes with the road course too, which I think definitely impacted. But I think you're right. I think.
Well, we were high downforce last year, weren't we, for this thing?
Yeah, and there was just nothing else happened. But yeah, these cars were evil out there, and I mean, Kurt Busch, that was ridiculous.
See, Kurt Busch reminded me of Noah Gragson last year.
Stepped on my ding dong there.
It was pretty much the same move.
Kind of, yeah.
And
that kink. I was playing I think Forza 7 or something, and you can run the road course at Daytona, and I've gotten knocked out by that kink before.
Yeah.
So it happens.
I raced that track on Arca Sim Racing back in the day. However, Arca the game didn't quite have the physics correct on that track. So it was a little off. It was actually a little more treacherous than it actually is, which is saying a lot because it's a pretty treacherous track to begin with. But yeah, that sucker was challenging. That infield is challenging, really challenging.
Yeah. Imagine running 24 hours on that thing. I mean,
well, yeah, but those cars handle a little better than
these stock cars do not handle very well on the road course. I mean, they are beasts, man. They don't want to turn. They have too much acceleration. You know, they just don't want to play nice. I mean, how many times have we seen drivers, all weekend and back to the Clash overdriving that first corner?
Yep.
And we see it at the Roval too. It's the same thing. Guys pound that corner, that first turn, and just go sliding all over the place.
Yeah, we had 3 real entertaining races this weekend. All 3 series on the road course. I think they're all worth a little bit of conversation. We'll start with the Cup Series since that's what we're really here for. As we said, Christopher Bell gets himself his first Cup Series victory, the second race of the season with the big dogs at Joe Gibbs Racing. James has here in the notes, McDowell and Bell are the first back-to-back first-time winners since 1950.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. Who was it that did it, James?
That was Harold Kite. And then Tim Flock, though. Tim Flock, that's a name. But yeah, that's going way back. That's like
decades ago.
Yeah, that's like talking baseball and being like, well, Babe Ruth did that thing one time. It hasn't been done since then. I was like, I saw that stat. I thought I have to put this in the show notes because holy cow, just the rarity of, having 2 first-time winners like that is just, it's something else. I mean, we just haven't seen that before. We don't see first-time winners all that often, Eric. I mean, it's not NASCAR's tried and true. You've got your grizzled veterans, and if they're winning young, they're usually winning all the way through their career. And now we've got, back-to-back first-timers, which is great.
Yeah, they're usually spread out quite a bit. So this is episode 184. Episode 181, to preview the season, we asked the question to us as one of our predictions, who will be the first driver to win their first race this season? James, we've determined, which we've already determined in the past, that we are a couple of idiots.
We are idiots, yes.
I picked Matt DiBenedetto, and James picked Chase Briscoe, and we are wrong twice because both McDowell and Bell have done it before those two. So
yeah, I thought Chase Briscoe was going to win one of these road course races.
Yeah.
And yeah, Christopher Bell did not luck into this win. He had Joey Logano out in front and took it from him. Just flat out took it. And it's well earned.
The only gift that I would say that he got was the rainbow caution.
that screwed up Chase Elliott and Truex, and that was the big one.
Yeah.
That was the big one. You got the two big dogs out of the way, and really, it really was only one big dog. I mean, if Chase Elliott, doesn't have a little bit of, help, knocking him down, I think he was pretty tried, and he was gone. And Truex was good. He just could never get there. I mean, he was passing cars, but he just never, he never made it up.
I forget what they said. Chase Briscoe was on Sirius Today with Dave Moody. He's on every week, and I forget how many passes that they said Briscoe made, but he basically passed the entire field like 5 times in this race.
Yeah, he did run a good race. I mean, we joke about me picking him to win his first race first, but he ran a clean race from the most part until until his hood flew up over the roof. He had an exciting day from there on, but he was in position a couple of times.
Well, so he said on the podcast or on the show today that he actually lost power steering in the first stage. He hit the curb, lost power steering. They were able to fix it, and he got it back, and then it went out after the contact at the in the last stage. So he ran a good chunk of the day with no power steering.
A road course with no power steering.
Not
what is it
only
with
a
that
road
14
course.
car losing power steering?
It's not only a road course, but the Daytona road course. You think about that. Not only do you have the tight turns inside of the track, but can you imagine trying to steer a car at lower speeds on that banking with no power steering?
Oh, yeah.
You let go of that steering wheel, it's going to turn all the way to the left.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah. That's man's work right there. That's what the old boys used to do back in the day.
So once Chase Elliott started crashing through the grass and trying to spin out and everything, it pretty much became
was an incredible save, Eric, by the way.
Yes.
I mean, I was watching that live and I thought, oh, here he goes. And then he got it on the track. I'm like, he's going to hit that sign. He's losing it, and he brought it back on the track. That was incredible. That is absolutely incredible.
The only thing, it's hard to tell with those because they use that super long lens down that straightaway. So he might not have been as close to that sign as it looked. But
but it looked like it.
It was, well, all 4 tires in the grass. That's hairy.
And he was sliding all over. It was incredible.
Lucky enough not to have the splitter dig in.
Yep. Kurt Busch had that too when he went for his joyride.
Yeah.
He didn't have the splitter get wiped out.
Yep. But his brother did. Lap 1 again.
Well, they battled back too.
Yeah.
Do you think Adam Stevens strutted into the shop today?
Or
Monday?
When Adam Stevens when I saw him celebrating after the win, I could just see him like just sticking it to Kyle.
There was
the way he celebrated just seemed to me like, there you go, Kyle.
There was definitely a bleep you.
Gotta be. He's already. I mean, I have nothing against Adam Stevens. I never met the guy. I never talked to him, but he's got that kind of pompous like personality.
You
I think
can see why him and Kyle, maybe why
they're probably pretty similar actually, which is why they work great together. But we're also not good together.
Well, Kyle, when Kyle, not really prompted, said what he said at the beginning of the season. There's inter-team rivalry going on there. Yeah. I like that.
Yep,
That's fantastic. I love that.
So Kyle Busch has trouble on the first lap in this thing again. And just, I mean,
he was there. I mean, he battled all the way back.
Yeah.
Then got taken out at the end, but he had a good run.
Well,
going,
shoot,
even with that damage.
You mentioned Kurt going off track. He almost won the thing. He finishes 4th.
He did.
I mean, and then
Larson was looking good.
Well, Brad Keselowski looked terrible too, and he ends up 5th.
Yeah, he had a workman's day. He had an exciting day.
Yeah.
He was locking wheels up, and now he was back and forth. Eric, we didn't even mention Michael McDowell.
Right.
I mean, first lap, he has issues, battles back, and gets another top 10 to start the season. He's 2 for 2. Well, unbelievable.
The other one that needs some mention that finished in the top 10 is Ryan Preece. He has 2 top 10s the first 2 races of the season.
Yep, he's running real good. He wants to run the whole season.
Yep,
that's how you do it. That's how you get it done.
I forget. I think it's Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Michael McDowell, Ryan Preece are the only drivers with 2 top 10s to start the season.
Yep, that sounds about right.
So
that's awesome, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought Larson might steal this one late, and then he loop-de-dooed it, trying to get towards NASCAR 1, coming back off the road course, and that was the end of his day. And he did not finish very well after that either. Where did he end up? 30th. Oh, yeah, not good. After he was there though. I mean, he made some noise. That was more so than he did in the Daytona 500. I definitely knew he was there.
Right.
On Sunday.
I still think Fox is avoiding talking about him.
Oh yeah, they did. I actually noticed Mike Joy talking about him, and the fact that he was talking about him, I noticed that. I was like, oh okay.
It seems
up
odd almost.
It does.
So yeah, we mentioned Christopher Bell. He had that gift with the caution, but I mean he earned that win. He battled to the front and then battled to the front again to get that win. Was able to chase Joey Logano down to get the pass on the second to last. Or was it the last?
Second to last.
Second to last. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So earns his first career victory. Like I said, second race for Joe Gibbs Racing, officially with the big team this year. In that 20 car. Yep. Let's talk about the caution, James.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, it's NASCAR's rule.
It is NASCAR's rule. I think NASCAR needs to rewrite the rule.
Yeah,
if it's a safety issue, yes, but that was not a safety issue. Nobody thought they needed a caution there.
Well, one guy radioed. I was listening to the teardown. Thanks, Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi. They said that one guy did radio in and say the track was wet. It was a darker shade. Than it was before.
One of the drivers, somebody in second, third, needed a caution.
No, it was
anybody but Chase Elliott.
It was anybody but Chase Elliott. No, it was official in the turn.
Okay.
But
the official in the turn needed to take his sunglasses off. I think
maybe. I understand why NASCAR has it in place though, because you don't want these cars running these high banks. With no rain tires.
Yeah, but the thing is at that point though, James, if you get a downpour, then you got to throw the caution. But IndyCar does that. These other series do that too. You don't need to throw a caution for a little bit of moisture to give them the chance to put rain tires on, and then have everybody pit and not put rain tires on.
What would you rather have? I guess err on the side of judgment.
The problem is this gives us another way for NASCAR to theoretically manufacture a finish.
Well, I mean,
I don't think they did that. Yeah. Disagreeing with Iceman on YouTube, who I've become like not a big fan of lately. But I mean, I don't think that. First of all, NASCAR is not going to manufacture a finish that's going to screw Chase over.
Well, yeah.
If NASCAR wants
we saw that at the Daytona 500.
Yeah, 2 guys that you aren't going to throw a caution, or the 2 guys that you aren't going to hurt on purpose if you're NASCAR, Chase Elliott and Dale Earnhardt Jr. It's never going to happen. Yeah. So it was a legit caution for that reason. I don't know. It's
Eric.
There's no right answer, James.
Yeah, Eric. The whole series is manufactured to some extent.
It is. It's every sport is.
It's entertainment. NASCAR is an entertainment motorsport. That's what it is. That's what we are. We have to live with the facts. But I don't know NASCAR has a rule in place. I think they called it up based on the rule. You may be right that they should change the rule. I don't disagree with you, but they made a call. And listen, all of the teams had to deal with it the same way.
Don't get me wrong. I'm glad the caution
Chase Elliott. No, me too. It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was great. Made for a great race.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's the same reason, like the Clash. I didn't think the Clash was a great race all day until late, and this one was definitely a little bit more exciting most of the day. But yeah, I mean, there was a chance that Chase was going to run away with this thing, and he didn't. So and you know what though, Eric, too, Chase's team was really bad on pit road all day. Like he was losing spots, dropping like a rock all day. Yep. So get him back out front. You come in up front, go back out front.
Yeah, I mean, he had the same opportunity to pit and get back out to where he was as everybody else did. So it's on Chase. NASCAR didn't cost Chase that race. Chase's team cost him that race.
Well, yeah, and I know there was guys who stayed out, and there was different strategy going on, but Chase was getting beat off pit road by guys with fresh tires too. So
Right.
it's not all NASCAR's fault that Chase Elliott was in that position either.
Yep.
This is what it is. That's NASCAR racing.
Couple others to mention. Ross Chastain finishes 39th, taken out by Ryan Blaney. Not a good replay of it. I'm assuming that it was completely by accident. I think Blaney was just trying to cross under, but that had to suck for Chastain. Put right into the wall.
Yeah, Blaney was all over the place. He had a rough day.
Tyler Reddick has issues. I was expecting big things out of him because he ran really well in the clash. And then Matt DiBenedetto had a tire issue, ripped the rear end off of his car, and finishes 37th. We mentioned Kyle Busch ends up 35th with his trouble. Austin Dillon 34th. William Byron 33rd. Chase Briscoe 32nd. So, and then Larson, you said 30th place there. Bubba Wallace had issues on a road course. Big surprise. Finished 26th.
Yeah, not his forte.
No, not at all. Up front, we kind of talked about the guys. AJ Allmendinger jumps into a road course race in the Cup Series. Second race for whatever the heck the team's name is that I'm drawing a blank on right now. What the heck is the team? What's the team name? Do you remember?
I love when you do this.
Do you remember?
What's the driver again?
AJ Allmendinger. What team is he driving for?
Oh, he drives for Colleague.
Colleague. Jesus, I couldn't remember Colleague.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So
we had Eric not knowing the team name, and then me half listening.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So Allmendinger.
I'm looking up stats for the next part of the podcast. So I was letting you ramble, and then all of a sudden we got derailed. Beautiful.
Nice. Allmendinger finishes 7th. Good finish for him. Let's see.
He ran a good race.
Yeah.
Really good race for him.
Yeah. Eric Jones finishes 14th. So at least an improvement for Petty Enterprises over Bubba.
They battled. Yeah, they battled. They had a flat tire early. And got a break with the caution, so they were able to stay in the lead lap. But yeah, they had a lot of work to do to get that 14th place. So that's a great run for Petty.
Yep. I don't think anybody else jump out at you, James. Anything else worth mentioning on this race?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I know we didn't talk about Hamlin, but once again, just solid.
Yeah.
He won a stage. That's kind of what he's been doing, and he did that last year too. Was never the favorite at any point in this race to win. But he was solid.
Definitely had some brake fade at the end of the race that cost him any chance at running for it.
Yeah, he couldn't go aggressively like he wanted to. That's for sure.
So, all right, let's talk about the other two races real quick. Ty Gibbs gets his first win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in his first race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. How about that?
That's awesome. Yeah.
I mean,
awesome.
You can't do better than that. So, and earn him a few more starts this year. He's going to drive 14 more races for JGR in the Xfinity Series this year. So that's cool.
Yeah, he won a road course in his first start.
Yeah,
and he's the first Xfinity driver to win in his first start that's not had any Cup experience.
Right.
Everybody else who's done it has driven Cup first. So really cool story.
I mean, did we know that Ty Gibbs had that talent?
There's a lot of question with Ty Gibbs,
Yeah.
Running the ARCA series with the equipment that he did. People were kind of wondering, but this is not a joke to go out and win this race.
No, and you could say he's got great equipment, and that 54 car does really well, but that 54 car usually only does really well with one driver in it.
Yeah, and he beat Austin Cindric. Freaking Cindric is awesome at these road courses. He beat him.
I mean, it helped that Austin Cindric decided to rip the front end of his car off, or AJ Allmendinger decided to rip the front end of his car off.
I think AJ Allmendinger ripped the front end of his car off. We will probably talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, well, we can talk about it now. So coming to the end of stage 1, AJ Allmendinger tries to block Austin Cindric. They get together. Allmendinger digs his front nose into the grass and manages to score a whopping, what did we say, 4 points on the day?
4 points on the day,
completely killing me in our picks contest this week.
He did. He hurt you bad. Hurt you real bad.
So, I said at the time that it was Cindric's fault. I think they're both at fault, but yeah, blocking.
Turn right.
Yeah,
turn right.
Yeah, blocking.
Turning left.
Blocking coming in the line is pretty stupid coming to the end of a stage.
Contrary to popular belief, NASCAR race cars can turn right. We were at a road course, so AJ, turn it right.
That being said, Cindric could have gone under the yellow line too, but he's also putting himself more at risk by doing that. So
somebody's driving you down like that. Screw you, man.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. But it hurt Cindric's day too. Actually, might have helped him. because
he was apologetic. He felt bad about that.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly cooled the right front tire off on his car the rest of the day.
He still scored the most points on the day. I mean, tied with Ty Gibbs there. So I mean, a really great points day, and Austin's going to be around. He's already got a win in the bank, so he's going to be around all season. He ain't going anywhere. He's the favorite for the championship. So another good day.
Yep,
nothing wrong with that.
I mean, it's exciting to see Ty come up there in a race that should have been. I mean, it should have been Cindric's race with Allmendinger out of it, and Gibbs made it interesting.
And he had it's a great showing too, because he caught a lot of crap after that ARCA interview last week from members of the media.
Yeah.
That shall go nameless. We don't need to go down that road. But he's an 18-year-old kid. He's just a kid. So, right. I mean, I don't know about you, Eric. I said some pretty dumb and arrogant things when I was a kid too. So
I say dumb, arrogant things now, and I'm almost 40.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So we still do that. So I'll give Ty Gibbs a pass for everything that happened the week before. He shouldn't have gotten taken out by the media like he did. So that's another one of those stick it to you wins that I like to see. So that's great.
I mean, Ty's got the deck stacked against him. He's got the Gibbs name. Everybody wants to say he's doing it. He's getting the chances he's getting because of who he is. And you know what? Probably
nepotism's real.
75% of the people in NASCAR are that way.
Eric, it's all family in this sport.
Right.
You think what do you think we're going to be not rooting for Keelan Harvick someday?
Exactly.
I mean, come on. That's what this sport is. Brexton Busch, come on. Yep. Cash Boyer, these guys are all coming. They're all going to be Cup drivers.
Oh, yeah.
And if you think you're not, you're crazy.
Yep, for sure.
Unless they pull a Matt Martin or something and just decide they don't want to,
Right. Brandon Jones bounces back after a terrible Daytona weekend. The weekend before, finishes 4th for him. That was a good run. I'm trying to think of anybody else worth mentioning in this. We don't usually get too deep into the Xfinity stuff, but it's another good race. Fun to watch. So,
Justin Haley's hanging around. The Burton cousins both had good runs, so that's cool.
Yeah,
but yep.
And then
the Xfinity Series.
Then old Ben Rhodes gets the win, doubles it up with the Truck Series, wins the first 2 races of the year. Great run by Mr. Rhodes. Led, 13 laps on the way to the victory.
Attaboy.
Yep.
Attaboy.
Beat out James's pick, Sheldon Creed.
Yeah. I thought he was going to get her done again, but yeah. That truck race is a little bit of a hectic mess.
Well, John Hunter Nemechek had trouble at the beginning, and I'm like, crap. I'm already starting off in the hole because that was my pick. And Nemechek managed to battle back up to 3rd. He was coming.
Yeah, he had a good run. Yeah, he is definitely going to be a problem moving forward this season. That guy is really good.
Yep.
He's definitely overqualified for everything he's doing in that series at this point. I think he's going to be a problem.
I agree. Got some rain in this one too, so we got to deal with some wet weather racing. So that's always cool. And I don't think there's anything else really to talk about with that one, is there?
No, it was kind of a mess, but it was good. I mean, it's still a good race. Good racing all weekend.
Yeah, good way to start the weekend off.
For sure. 2 weeks, or I guess 3 weeks in Daytona or whatever it was. So long time to be down there.
That one was a mess at the end. That's right. I was trying to remember exactly what happened. They ended up throwing the caution before Rhodes got around to the checkered. But he had it wrapped up anyway. It was over.
Oh yeah.
So
it was done. Yep.
All right, let's talk some news, James. Chip Ganassi going to be taking a little break for a couple of weeks, or at least a week.
Yes. Yeah, for one, at least one.
Yeah. Suspended from Homestead for a COVID violation at Daytona. From Jordan Bianchi's tweet, it sounded like he had basically brought somebody into an area he wasn't supposed to bring somebody into, right?
Yeah. And I was joking with you about this earlier, but if we know Chip Ganassi, he was probably told don't do that.
Yeah.
And then he gone done it.
Yep.
And that's just speculation on my part, but I'm assuming that's what happened there.
Right.
He just did what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
So otherwise, I don't think they would have suspended him and hit him so hard with a fine. I mean, that was a pretty big fine.
Yeah. Hey, good on NASCAR. 30K. They got to do this stuff. Don't be lax in this. We saw enough of these drivers.
Oh yeah, make examples.
Yeah, we saw enough of these guys not wearing masks and stuff and goofing off and acting like nothing was going on during the off season. If you're in NASCAR's playground, you got to play right. And
I'm sure NASCAR has told every one of these teams, don't fool around with this COVID stuff.
Yep.
We have to take it seriously.
Yep. I mean, they look.
I wonder.
NASCAR looks really good right now compared to every other sport. So let's keep it that way.
Yep. Yeah, I know. And the wheels almost came off at the end of last year, but we were able to get through it. And
yep. The
season
ended at just the right time.
Just the right time before, it broke out again. But I wonder if NASCAR had a talk with like Chase Elliott for some of his stuff. I'm curious to know.
Back in the old days,
we'll never know.
If Bill France Jr. was still there, you'd have had that arm around Chase, conversation. But I don't know if that NASCAR still exists anymore.
I don't know either. Yeah, I don't think Steve Phelps is out there putting his arm around the guys.
No,
especially during the COVID pandemic.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. We found out today that USAC Triple Crown winner Big Daddy Chris Wyndham will race in the Cup Series event at the Bristol Dirt Race for Rick Ware Racing.
Great nickname.
Yeah, it is. Those dirt guys, all those dirt short track guys have such great nicknames. You sit there and listen to the World of Outlaws guys, and there's some good nicknames. So we need that in the Cup Series.
I know we do, for sure.
But nice looking car. Probably best looking Rick Ware racing car ever.
Yeah. NAS is your favorite sponsor. I know that. I remember you telling me that.
There are some good NAS paint schemes, man. I hate the drink, but
the color, they got good colors.
Yeah, the paint schemes are good. So
yeah. So I was going to ask you about this. So we went to the Eldora for the first truck race at Eldora, right?
Yep.
Do you remember what dirt racing legend was in the field for that very first race?
Yeah, Scott Bloomquist, right?
And how did he do?
He did terrible because he got the smart idea that if he removed the rear sway bar from the car, that it would work better, and he finished horribly because that was a stupid thing to do.
It was very close to dead last. Yeah. So I'm a little worried about how Chris Wyndham's going to feel in the
already
seat.
in a Rick Ware racing car.
Well, yeah, but maybe the dirt track will allow for some balance. I don't know. I bet you Chris Bell's licking his chops now because he can really go for it. He's already got a win in the bag. He's in the playoffs.
Yeah,
so he's in good shape.
I'm curious, I don't know. A lot of those dirt guys aren't excited about this race because they know it's not going to be a dirt race. I mean,
it's not really. It's a big, heavy stock car.
250 laps on this track with 40 cars. There is no freaking way that this is going to be a dirt race. It will be an asphalt race that's dusty.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it's gonna be.
There will be so much rubber down in these turns at this track when this thing is done. There's no way.
I wouldn't want to be the first one flying in there into the first turn.
No.
No way, buddy.
Nope.
No, sir.
NASCAR that I would be. I'd sign up for it, man. I would do it in a heartbeat.
That's great.
For sure. And that's it. There's no more news.
Yeah, we're low on news this week, but these teams are busy. I mean, Daytona. That's the way it usually goes at the beginning of the year, though. We don't really get a whole lot of.
A little light this year, but it's So, So we go to Homestead Miami Speedway this weekend. James, it's the Dixie Vodka 400. Get to go back to some traditional NASCAR racing, although it's a little less traditional this year. The road courses, I think, are they put up a pretty big balance of the schedule, but the 1.5 mile tracks are still the bread and butter of the Cup Series. We go back to the low downforce or the high downforce, low horsepower package this weekend at Homestead Miami, and get to see what these guys have for the majority of the season. So what do you think? What do you think we can expect this weekend, James? I think last year we predicted that this race wouldn't be that great in the middle of the season, and found out that we were completely wrong, and that Homestead is still awesome no matter what.
And we had to do it. We had to do it at a different time of the year too. This was one of the first races that was affected by the pandemic.
Yeah.
We had Atlanta. Atlanta was the first one, but this was right around the corner, and everything changed. Everything changed, obviously after that. But this was still a great race last year. This is probably, I don't know about you, Eric. This is still one of my, if I had to list my 5 favorite tracks, this one's in there somewhere.
Yeah, this one's
just a great track.
This one is on my list of tracks to go to, but it's so far away. I mean, I have to fly basically to go to this one, and so the chances of it happening are probably pretty slim. There was a much better chance of it happening when it was the championship race, but now that it's right early in the season like this, it's a little tougher to justify it. But I don't know, man. They they do Daytona and Homestead like they were originally supposed to do, maybe make a week of it and go down for the 500.
Yeah, you could. You
Homestead.
definitely could. Yeah, there's a lot of good things down there. If you get, I wouldn't go to Miami, but I there's probably some fun things to do down there. But this this pandemic, I don't think you can really do anything anyway. So
yeah, there's no reason to go to Miami for anything other than the track.
Not really. No. They've got a great zoo. I know that, but that's about it.
So we get to make
this is
we get to make our picks this week. Yeah, go ahead, James. You can go ahead first.
Sorry.
I think we have a delay. Sorry, I'm talking over you.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I know we have internet issues from time to time. But I was just gonna add real quick. I don't know about you. I'm still disappointed that we don't come here for the championship anymore. Even though Phoenix was good last year, I just really like this place. And to see it come and go so quickly in the season is still kind of a little bit of a bummer to me. But I'm getting used to it.
Yeah.
As long as we're still racing here, I think we're in a good spot. This is a great place. Great place to see some great racing and good mile-and-a-half racing. It's not always great, but you get a good one here this weekend.
Yep, I agree. So we had our picks last week. We were kind of reverse of the week before. James smoked me last week. 142 points James was able to get out of the weekend, and I came out with 83, which 83 is respectable.
Yeah, really good.
But 142 is really good. When James picked the second place driver in both the Cup and Truck Series, or the Xfinity and Truck Series, and then Hamlin finished fourth, was it? So
finished third, yeah.
Third, yeah.
2, 2, and 3. Yeah.
So James went for consistency last weekend and was able to eke one out, and I picked AJ Allmendinger, which killed me.
I love that you eke one out. That's good.
Yeah.
I don't know, 142, Eric. That might be hard to top all year. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that.
That's a good number. You can't get much higher than it.
No, yeah, I've got a 52, a 50, and a 40.
You'd have to. Yeah, you have to pick winners for every race. Is pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna top. We're gonna have to watch it. That's the high mark of the year so far, and it might get top, but you got to do it over a truck weekend too. So there's only a few opportunities to get that many points. So I'm definitely glad I maximized my week.
For the first weekend of the season, I got 87 points. I almost got that same amount this week, and I lost, where I beat James by 40-some points last weekend.
Yeah, you did. You crushed me last week, and then I one-upped you a little bit this week with the 142. Holy smokes!
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, I'll take it. I will take it because I needed it because fantasy wasn't going so well for me either. So I get them when I can. So
James and I had a slight, not really debate, but discussion on social media today, and the plan is that whoever is behind in the points, in the overall points, will get to pick first each week. Because James moved ahead of me with 184 points to my 170, I get to pick first this week, James, and I actually would almost prefer to pick second because I'm not 100% sure which way I want to go here. I'm struggling with both races, actually. The tough thing about this track is you have to consider that while the stats are the stats, especially in the Cup Series, you're also usually dealing with a championship battle, so that skews the results a little bit.
It does.
So we don't have that anymore. So now it's a little bit more up in the air. I'm going to go with my gut instinct on this one. And just the fact that there's nobody for the Xfinity Series, there's nobody I enjoy more watching ride the rim on this track than Noah Gragson. And so I'm going to pick Noah Gragson as my pick for this one.
Yeah. Yep. I was leaning towards Noah Gragson. He's definitely... when you look at the average finish over the last two, I just did the last two. He's got a fourth place average finish, 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s. So yeah, I like that one. I will take Harrison Burton.
Harrison Burton's a good one.
I will take Harrison Burton.
Harrison Burton actually has a win here.
Yes, he's only led 2 laps in the last 2 races, whereas Noah Gregson's led 164. So you definitely got the front runner.
But Harrison Burton's a good pick everywhere.
Yeah, he's gonna be one of our solids. In the Xfinity Series, and just for people who know too, we have to pick guys who are running for points in Xfinity Series. So if Kyle Busch was running, for example, this week, we would not be able to take Kyle.
I mean, technically, we don't have to pick somebody who's running for points, but you won't earn any points because we earn the number of points.
Yeah, you want exactly. You want the points. So we want to make sure that we
just to be clear, you can pick one-off drivers if they're
running for points.
Yeah. So if
Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs is earning points. He can run. He can be a pick. Ty Dillon's another good one that will be running for points in one of the series. Just a note on Ty Gibbs, by the way. I think he's like 8th in points right now after missing the first race.
Yep.
But yeah, so you can pick a driver that's not earning points, but it won't do you any good. It's just going to get you a win, and nobody cares about wins in this battle. So, all right, on to the Cup Series. And I am probably going to take James's pick because I have a hard time not picking this driver, although I was leaning a different direction. But I'm just going to say Fox is going to have to talk about Kyle Larson this week if Kyle Larson's going to win this race.
He's back. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So
Kyle Larson.
Did I take yours? Were you going to pick him?
No, I actually wasn't going to take him. Nope, I was. And one of the guys I'm toying with is actually Tyler Reddick, but
Tyler Reddick's a great pick, but maybe not in the Cup Series.
I know. But he's right. He ran one race here so far in his career. He's got a 4th place finish. So I'd like to see him do it again.
Imagine three first-time winners in a row.
I thought about that when I was looking at the stat sheet. I'm like, he could probably do it. He ran a really good race here last year. Remember, it was good. He ran really well.
Yeah.
I'll take the. I'm going to give him a shot here early, but he's got a short leash this year. But I'm going to take the king of the 1.5 miles from a year ago, and I'll take Kevin Harvick to continue that dominance. See if he can get it done again. I mean, Harvick he won 9 races last year.
Not even on my radar for this one.
Yeah, that team was so good on these 1.5 miles last year. I just feel like he's going to be around. I don't know if he'll win it, but I think he'll be, he's going to be getting stage points. He's going to be running up front.
That's true. You got to look at the points. That's a good point. Which means I probably should have went with who my original
You and I
pick
are
was
playing a different game early in the season here.
Yeah.
Eric's swinging for home runs. I'm just hitting doubles.
My original pick was probably a better one, and that was Denny Hamlin. Not only did he win the race last year, but he's you're gonna get points with Denny Hamlin. He's gonna finish consistently.
You are. He's gonna be right there too. Yeah.
But I'll stick with my Larson pick. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was looking at Hamlin. Those were my 3 guys. I was looking at Harvick, Hamlin, and but yeah, if I was going to throw you off a little bit, I was going to take Reddick.
Reddick was on my list. He's staring at me as I look at the.
I know it's intriguing. Well, the way he ran last year was so ridiculous. It was like he was really going to win that race. Well, watch him go out there and win it.
He's run 3 races at Homestead in the Xfinity Series, and he won 2 of them. So.
Can you imagine the sphincters tightening up if he goes out there and wins that race and takes another playoff spot away?
Dude, that will change everything. It's already pretty scary. I mean, I don't think it's as scary.
Got 2 new guys already.
Christopher Bell's not too scary because I think a lot of people expected him to be there.
Yeah.
But Reddick would be scary. Reddick would definitely, when you've already got one in there that wasn't expected to be there with.
Well, that's right.
With McDowell.
That's right.
It's one more would be scary.
Yeah, I mean, 2 guys are already coming out of the playoffs now.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's going to happen because there's no way, James. There's no way we run 26 races and Bubba doesn't get a win. I just don't see it.
I don't think so.
We did take a Bristol away though.
We took a Bristol away. We've taken away a lot of more 1.5 mile opportunities as well.
That's
so things
true.
are going to get wonky. I mean, but Alex Bowman's the one I'm looking at. Like, where are you going to win if you've lessened his opportunities?
Yep.
Like Austin Dillon won last year. Where are you going to win, Austin? Those are the 2 guys I'm kind of looking at.
Yeah.
Right
true.
now. Obviously, Clint Boyer's
Reddick
already
could steal that Austin Dillon win himself.
Right, yeah, and Clint Boyer was in the playoffs last year, so he's not, obviously he's not out there anymore. Right. So yeah, there's a couple of spots up for grabs. Cole Custer, another one, like where Eric Almirola, those guys are in danger already. They got to go out there and try to find a win or something because it's going to get tight. It's going to get real tight.
Think we'll get 16 winners?
We always talk about that, and somebody always rises up and doesn't allow for it. When you got Harvick and Hamlin winning all those races last year and then Elliott getting 5 himself, 16 different winners is so tough. So tough.
Back to Harvick, we didn't mention him much in the discussion over the road course race, but with how horribly he did in the Clash, to come out and get he was top 5 in this one. Good on Harvick to, get a good finish when it mattered. So,
yeah.
And that's what you expect out of him. I mean, that's what you're going to get from Kevin Harvick. So.
Yep.
Fantasy League, James. I don't want to talk about it, so you can.
Yeah, the Fantasy League. The Fantasy League, real quick, was dicey. There was before the yellow came out late. I was just ahead of you, and we were both doing really bad. But that yellow definitely saved my day. I was able to salvage a halfway through, halfway decent race. But the winner, a newbie to the team, or excuse me, a newbie to the league this year, Team Draftona. He he or she, I don't know, I'm not sure. Or tandem Draftona.
There you go.
That's a newbie to the league. Sorry, good grief. Yeah, we got a lot of newbies. Eric, we have a 17-player league right now, so we got lots of newbies.
That is awesome
it's
and
really
horrible
fun.
At the same time.
Horrifying. Yeah, it's horrifying and awesome all at the same time. But yeah, so Draftona gets the win, 203. An old friend, Ranger Runyon, is finished second, and then Rusty W, number 2, another newcomer, tied with one of our veteran racers, Justin 713, all for the top 3 there.
Nice.
Barron Speedway right there, 5th place, 182. Nice.
Yeah.
I was 7th, and then Eric, you salvaged the 14th.
Yeah.
So not bad.
Yeah, I'm ahead in the standings of the guys that didn't race the first week, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And then Mr. Consistency still first overall. Shut up, Roger, second, and Fast to the Grass is third, tied with Rusty W2, also third. It's pretty tight up there at the top. Eric, I am 10th.
Yeah,
not good. And Eric, you are 13th.
Yeah,
we gotta get some consistency. Got beat.
Yep. Anyway. James, got any shout outs this week?
I think you and I both might have the same one. I'm gonna let you take it, because I think I know where you're gonna go.
Yeah,
but
James shared a podcast with me this week, which turned out to be the most spectacular podcasts I think I've ever listened to. That might be pushing it, but it was pretty darn good. So if you haven't seen it, it's called Firestorm: The Years That Changed NASCAR, 2000 to 2001. And it's Rick Houston, used to work for NASCAR Scene. The interesting thing about this was to learn. See, I know the NASCAR media so well of who's in the NASCAR media now, but to remember the names that were in the NASCAR media back then, there's names that I've forgotten about because they've been out of the sport for so long and whatever. It was completely different back then. But anyway, Rick Houston, this is, 7 episodes, James, I think?
Yeah, well, it was 10, but there were some short ones in there.
Yeah. So basically, I'll just read down the list here. So episode 1's Adam Petty, episode 2, Kenny Irwin, episode 3, Gathering Storm, episode 4, Tony Roper, episode 5, Dale Earnhardt, episode 6, the 2001 Daytona 500, episode 7, Aftermath, episode 8, Firestorm, and episode 9, Blaze Alexander wraps up with episode 10, Legacy. And it's all just about what all went on from 2000 2001, all the injuries, the fatalities, details each one of them pretty specifically, the lives of the drivers. I think the one that probably rang the most for me, James, was the Blaze Alexander one, because so much credit has been given to Dale Earnhardt for the legacy that he created. But Blaze Alexander was the one, when he was killed, it was 2 weeks after that, the next Cup race after that the head and neck restraints were mandated. And so, I mean, Blaze Alexander really holds that legacy, whereas Earnhardt spurred it. But man, there's some fascinating stuff in here. I could listen to this stuff all day long. If there's a lot of stubbornness about Dale Earnhardt detailed in this. You hear a lot of the discussions about safety discussions that were being had during the time period. And, James, I was very much watching NASCAR at this time and just didn't realize as we were living it how tragic it was that we lost so many people in such a small period of time. And now that we know that we lost them all for the same reason, it's even more crazy. But man, just excellent storytelling in this, lots of interviews. My only disappointment in it is that, a lot of it, this was done during COVID, so a lot of it's through the phone, and I couldn't understand Sterling Marlin, man. I wish I could have understood Sterling Marlin a little bit more, but otherwise it was really great. So highly recommend it. I'll let you talk now, James, if you want to say anything else about it.
Ward Burton makes an appearance,
Oh
which
man, Ward is great.
Great. Kyle Petty's a big player in this, obviously with Adam being involved.
I learned stuff in
Rick,
this. I mean, I've done a lot of research on this stuff.
I did too, man.
Yeah.
I did too. I was gonna say Rick Houston tells a story. I don't want to give the whole podcast away. I want people to go listen to it, though. Please, if you're a NASCAR fan, this is worth your time. It's short. These episodes are between Eric, 15 minutes and 29.
Yeah, they're perfect. But I'll tell you what, you're gonna listen to 3 in a row because you're not gonna be able to stop.
You're gonna bang them out. I finished them in less than a day. I was working and I was just banging them out one after another. I was like, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, this is it's for tragic storytelling. I guess it is what it is, but. It's really good. Like you said, Eric, I second everything you said. But I wanted to say just really quickly, he tells a story about Adam Petty at New Hampshire alone. That story alone was worth a listen because it's haunting and tragic, but man, it's powerful storytelling.
Yeah.
So just overall very good. I'm glad that I found it on Twitter and shared it with you guys. I wonder if Todd's listened to it. I'd have to ask him.
Yeah.
I'd love to get his opinion too. He's as big of a buff as we are. So, but yeah, if you guys listen to it, reach out to us, and tell us what you think. Maybe we can even share a link or something, Eric. Maybe when you share the episode, I'll find a link for it too, and we can push it out.
That'd be cool. I'll try and drop it in the show notes too, so it's there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Other thing I'll say from this, James,
Mm-hmm.
I officially. My feelings on Kyle Petty officially changed with this podcast.
Yeah, I've been and the Earnhardt doc. He's definitely something.
Yeah.
He's a strong dude.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle really comes across as full of himself, and this podcast shows that he's not.
He's definitely not.
It makes him a lot more personable with this podcast. And I enjoyed it. I mean, what Kyle went through is just crazy.
Oh, it's terrible tragedy. Yeah, terrible.
So
terrible.
But yeah, excellent podcast. Definitely worth checking out. I highly recommend it. We'll make sure the links are out there so you guys can see it. And definitely you'll burn through it. If you're interested in any of this stuff, you'll burn through it. And if you're listening to us, you're interested in this stuff, because otherwise there's no way you'd listen to us ramble for an hour each week.
Well, if your era is 90s and 2000s NASCAR, I mean, this is 90s, 2000s NASCAR. This is what you and I grew up on.
Yep.
We didn't realize it in the moment, like you said, Eric. I didn't either. I was a bit young, but I remember when Adam Petty died, and I remember when Kenny Irwin died. I definitely remember when Dale Earnhardt died. But yeah, I didn't remember.
I was telling
you. Didn't remember Tony Roper.
I
wasn't into it like that.
I did not appreciate Adam Petty or Kenny Irwin. I didn't like either of them.
Yeah.
But I was a Tony Stewart fan, and Tony Stewart clashed with Kenny Irwin, so of course I hated Kenny Irwin. And I mean, my fandom was different back then. I was a traditional fan who had my favorites and had the drivers that I hated. And I'm not like that anymore. I respect just about every one of them out there, and the ones that I don't like or maybe don't feel the same way about are usually because of interactions or things I've seen behind the scenes versus what they're like on the track. So it's a lot different now than it used to be for me. But yeah, so I mean, then that's probably why it didn't hit me as hard back then, and why I don't remember it as much. I mean, I remember it. I knew the stories and stuff, but I didn't realize how close together everything was and all that. Jeff Burton tells a great story in here too, which was one of the things that I learned about the famous New Hampshire race that he won, leading all 300 laps.
Yeah, that's a good story.
And yeah, I mean, I just thought they just went out there and just couldn't pass, and that's why he won the race. But he won the race because Jack Roush and team worked on it. They knew what they were going to have, so they worked their butts off and brought a car that couldn't be beat. It's like, that's awesome, man. That's stuff you don't hear. So.
And too, like, we were glowing in our Earnhardt review last week, and this, and credit to Rick on his reporting. He does not sugarcoat his relationship with Dale. He talks about how he was difficult to deal with, and and Earnhardt being difficult on the Hans device is definitely a thing that goes that goes not. I guess not unreported, but I mean, Ryan McGee and the work that they did with ESPN, that was fantastic. And it goes into it a little bit. This definitely does. But Eric, I mean, I remember the Simpson lap belt issue, and
Mhm.
that's covered here too. They talk
Yep.
about that stuff. So, yeah, you know, get a good history lesson on what the sport used to be. You know, if you
Yep.
want to know everything, this is a way to do it.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, and there's interviews with all these guys too. I mean, it's not just him telling the story. He's got sound clips from Dale Earnhart Jr., Kyle Petty,
Yep.
you know, all these guys in this thing. So it's good stuff. Definitely check it out.
Yep.
For
sure.
James, if they want to listen to the podcast and then chat with you about it on social media, where can they do that?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me on Twitter as well at TSuperspeedway. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. If you like more of the podcast, you can find us at thesuperspeedway.com. There's links to all the show notes, links to articles we discussed in the episodes, past shows, past race coverage, photos, all that type of stuff. So check that out, thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. And if you want to become a part of the show and help us out, help us get to the track when we eventually can go back, you can do that at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. Sign up to become a patron today. We're going to turn just left this week, James. We're going to go back to the ovals. Homestead Miami Speedway, it's the Dixie Vodka 400, NASCAR Xfinity Series in action as well. We'll be back next week to break it all down and talk about it as we get the official regular season underway. We'll be back next week to talk about it all. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.